Hello, everyone. We have another young Indian with us. We have Shrish Dhuria, part of the Voice of the Young series. Let's listen to him. Over to you, Shirish.
Sure, sir. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to actually be here to speak to my fellow colleagues and as well as age cohort. Firstly, I'd like to say that that our position as a nation is actually on a quite upheaval and with plenty of changes to go about. So it does provide me with an exciting time, but at the same time, I do believe that the education policies that are being followed in this nation, especially pertaining to recent developments in the NTA business, so those are but a representation of my aspirations that is to head abroad, which is to say that I do believe in the belief that um, the best avenue of education that's available to us is still, unfortunately, outside of this nation. As for my introduction, of course, I like to say that my name is Shrish Dhuria. I believe I haven't probably introduced myself yet. I am currently a recent graduate from in economics from Atma Sanatan Dharma College, University of Delhi. My aspiration as well as my pursuit happens to be in the field of finance, particularly derivatives and risk management. Hence, the reason of my applications um, for my applications in FRM as well as CFA. I'm pursuing those examinations thoroughly. In addition to that, I am currently pursuing my master's education. I'm currently in the pursuit of applying for my master's education abroad, targeting particularly LSE, LDS, and Oxford and Cambridge. Hopefully, I get in there, but of course, if the process is more difficult than the outcome as it goes. So that's still up in the air.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's hear more. Why this interest in finance? What's motivating you?
Sure. So it's a rather funny story, if I have to admit, because I spent the majority of my undergraduation life focusing upon an aspiration leading towards policy development and general economic specialization. So my emphasis since day one of my graduation was more along the lines of becoming holding a PhD in economics and being able to influence government policy. It is only recently that I acted upon basically my second line of aspiration, which is to say, I finally realized that the whole aspiration regarding policy management wasn't exactly meant for me. So I decided to act upon something that I've always had a keen interest in from the start, because even in my college days, I was acting as a prominent member in the finance and investment cell. So I've always had this thorough pursuit of understanding how not only how businesses operate through financial management, but also how risk pertains to their functionality, and how on an overall macroeconomic level, how general economic theories are capable of applying to broader aggregates regarding risk in an economy, as well as how as well as basically how such theories are capable of interacting in unprecedented and unique ways. And that led me down this line of seeking to understand risk on both a minuscule firm level as well as on economy wide level. And that's exactly why I'm going down this line now.
Okay, so um, what do you think of the current financial system in India? If you have any thoughts, maybe you can share with us. Is it
Sure.
working well? Is it in need of some changes? What exactly do you think is happening?
From my limited understanding, because I wouldn't say I happen to have professor excellent understanding of it thus far, we are a very risk conservative managing system, which is to say that the central bank, in its position, albeit de jure functions as a facilitator of the markets, is still suffering from a hangover of its pre-1992 days, which is to say they're still functioning to some capacity in a means that limits the extraordinary capabilities of the financial system when it is operating purely on a neoliberal basis. We are currently heading towards that orientation, of course, but it may take a little while in terms of fully realizing its capabilities while still managing and facilitating a risk-sensitive business system that is capable of absorbing fluctuations and volatilities in financial markets as a whole, while not suffering from the limitations of statisticism that has plagued the Indian financial system, economy overall, till now, I would say.
Okay. But what else? You want to tell us something about your college life or your high school life? People might be interested in who you are before we uh, see you going abroad.
Yeah. I my general philosophy towards life has always been more about talk the street rather than talk about yourself. So, but yeah, now that the question's been asked, I have to admit, I've been through a lot. I had a drop year in my high school actually. That was more because of certain personal reasons, and other than that, in like my college life has not exactly been the most extraordinary that is shown amongst Bollywood movies. More along the line of basically attending class every day. But even then, I've managed to experience a lot of I've managed to experience a range of emotions that have gone through euphoria to despair. So
So tell
amongst
us
the
about the euphoria.
sure, it's mostly been related to my college life in extracurriculars, especially being a general secretary as well as heads of multiple departments in my finance and investment cell, and having an opportunity of actually experiencing firsthand what it takes to organize an event, calling upon prominent speakers, organizing extensive competitions. Just the just the feeling of pulling something off on a grand scale beyond what I could have imagined being able to do myself speaks volumes to the transformative nature that college life is capable of having on an individual's life if you let it.
Okay. So, and have you let it?
I would like to think I have, because I am a very different person than I was 3 years ago.
Okay. All right. So you enjoyed this, but COVID didn't come in the way for you?
No, actually, my college life was only interrupted by around a semester at most
Okay.
by COVID.
Okay. So what were the big things in college that you enjoyed?
I'd say that along with a few classes that actually got me thinking about my career at large. Those happened especially with our macroeconomics professor who taught us in second year really happens to be one of the primary reasons why I've chosen to go down this career line, is because I've understood and realized that micro is for me, to be honest, but also more along the lines of being able to understand that I can see things on an aggregate level, I'd say better than certain other people can. So those are amongst the reasons I uh, actually enjoy college life, because they have managed to give me an understanding of not only myself and what I want to pursue, but also it's in those little moments that you start to realize education can be an extraordinary thing, and it has a lot of significance and weightage to one's not only in the materialistic aspect of how it can elevate your career, but also it is a capacity to influence your life in ways that you can't even see coming.
Okay. All right. Now
And that's
let's,
exactly why I really enjoy college life the most.
okay. So let's just think about your future career choices. Okay. Uh, Obviously, I think given your experience and the way you present yourself, do you think you could have got a job in the financial sector?
I do have a job actually. I'm supposed to be joining next month, but to be honest, I've I've had this aspiration of not only just pursuing my master's abroad, but also staying in academia for a while longer than I would have anticipated originally,
Okay.
because I do believe that while I am going through the process of becoming professionally qualified, professionally educated, I do believe my best capacities are lie when I'm allowed to theoretically analyze a subject rather than engaging in the banalities of practical life, or being engaged remotely in the process of managing managing budgets or managing treasuries, or just facilitating derivative management. I do believe that there happens to be a lot of like an extraordinary amount of um, fun, actually, a lot of fun to be had in the process of engaged in academia that lies beyond just staying behind a desk all day. So while my ultimate pursuit may lie eventually in becoming professionally employed and being able to manage large portfolios or being involved in risk management or treasury management, I do believe that the transformative effects of education, as I talked about, they are capable of having a lot more positives that I haven't exploited yet properly.
Okay, but okay, so let me ask you a question that you may choose to not answer. How did you compare the education, say, at IIMs to the education abroad? I mean, did you compare it, or did you just say, heck with it, I'm going abroad?
Um, well, I have compared, but at the same time, I'd say it's not applicable to me personally because I'm not going down the lines of, say, let's say, like going down the lines of an MBA. It's more along the specialization of finance. So, my orientation is always is more along the lines of, let's say, going into masters in financial analysis or masters in private equity management. So it's a more specialized route, which is not exactly available in India, which at least amongst the top tier IIMs yet. Coming back to your question, I'd say that the comparability of an MBA in education in India compared to abroad is more along the lines of um, it's more along the lines of it's more it's basically to say that there is a lot more practical emphasis that lies still in foreign education, especially amongst tier one MBA colleges abroad, like Wharton, like Wharton in UPenn or HEC or LBS. Those premier institutions still happen to have a lot more. Not only do they happen to have a lot extensive requirements in a corporate experience a priori for any incoming candidate, but they also happen to have a lot more emphasis that lies upon working with corporate handlers and managers at an elite level. So once a graduate is capable of, sorry, once the graduate emerges from institution, he's more than capable of replacing the people who taught him. That is to say,
Okay.
whereas in India, it's while we are on the process of actually becoming purely professionalized in a conduct of education, there still happens to be a nagging as well as a lacking sense of corporate substitutability amongst the recent graduate because I would this is a bit contentious and highly debatable, but an individual who comes out of an MBA program in tier one IIMs, Black Eye, for example, is still susceptible to lack the necessary qualifications, given the extensive composition of pressures uh, in the admissions to IIMs.
Okay. All right. So, how do you intend to finance your education abroad?
Via hopefully, I'm relying upon loans from friends and family as of now, and in addition to obviously financing from my parents, fortunately. Um, Other than that, last courses all would probably be along the lines of financing it through formal means, that is to say via basically via bank.
So, you are looking upon it as an investment which will pay off.
Certainly, that's the aspiration.
Okay.
Can't go into finance while thinking about everything as an investment.
No, it is an investment. It's a financial investment to get a degree, and to then obviously you have to make the money to pay off the loan.
Yep.
It's very simple that if you're going to go into finance, you are
That's
aware, you are
exactly.
aware that look, it's a loan, so you only if it's not a loan, still it's an investment from friends and family, and you need to have a return on it. I mean, that's very clear. All right. So you are aware of all these things, I'm sure, and you have thought it through, and your parents are supportive.
They are. I wouldn't have been able to. I wouldn't have been able to even consider the remote possibility of going abroad without my parents' support.
Okay. And what do your friends think of all this?
Fortunately, they've been very supportive as well. They've said that my best, like it lies in my best interest to pursue an education abroad, not only on a, well, of course, on a meritocratic level of pursuing an education that suits my demands from an education, but also because along cultural lines as well. I believe that I might be more suited to work abroad.
Okay. What could you explain this cultural? Let's hear it.
Sure. It's actually quite a hilarious thing to do because my I'd say my cultural pursuit towards work is more American like rather than a European aspiration, which is to say that it's more utilitarian in nature. That is to say that work happens to be the determinant cause of my life, that I'm more of a workaholic. Whereas, in addition to that, I'd say that I do have a certain like appreciation for Western culture, not in a anthropomorphic way, but simply in a ways of appreciating certain nuances as well as virtues they posit. So I do happen to have a interest in experiencing that life.
Okay, all right. So any particular thing that comes to your mind?
As in,
As you said, some things of the Western culture you want to experience. Is there anything specific in your mind, or you think just let me find out what it is?
well, it's certainly not the food, I'd say. It's more, it's more along the lines of experiencing how experiencing basically the process of the process by which their professors inculcate knowledge into you, because I've experienced that in India, and I do have I do have a lot of criticism for it. But at the same time, I do want to experience how education works there. I do want to experience how life operates there on a day-to-day basis, because um, there's a lot more flexibility, I'd say, compared to India. And I do believe that, amongst other things, actually, it's more along the lines of experiencing um, a sense of uh, self-expression and freedom that I think that only living abroad can give you. So
Okay.
it's more along those lines combined with my pursuit of education.
All right, wonderful. Any tips you have for young people?
Any advice, I'd say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm, well, personally, I'd say it's more along the lines of three things, actually. Uh, the first thing I'd say is that define your career objective in a narrow basis. The best thing that you can do in your life when you're starting off in career, basically in a career or in college, is to have an objective and stick to it. But at the same time, once you define that career path, don't restrict yourself with a narrow definition. The second thing I'd like to say is that always have plans A to Z. Which is to say, once you've determined, like, I want to go into this career line, like I want to be a finance manager, I want to work in politics, I want to be a UPSC candidate. That is all fine and well, but life has a way of derailing even the best laid plans, that's exactly why you have to have a second aspiration, a second line of work, a second quality. That is unquestionably, I'd say, more important than your first definition of your life. And third thing I'd say is that broaden your horizons, which is to say that always never limit yourself to even those plans, because again, life will throw you off course. The best thing you can do is improvise, and when you're improvising, don't think about what has happened. Think about what will happen.
Okay. All right. What's your plan B or your plan Y? As you said.
Currently, I am on my plan B actually.
But you said go from A to Z. So I'm not asking you your plan Z. I'm asking what's your plan Y?
My plan Y would probably be along because my plan C is actually pursuing an MBA.
Okay. All right.
In India, hopefully.
Yeah.
A plan Y would probably be survive.
Why not just go and become a sadhu in Himalayas? That might be plan Y, right? Give it all up and become a sadhu. How about that?
That's plan Z, actually. Yeah.
That's plan Z. All right. Okay. Anything else you want to add here?
Um. In addition to that, yeah, actually, the as all like in the root of all this, I'd say to put a bow on it, I'd simply say that always remember to have fun. Which
Yeah.
is to say that even in the course of your career, if you're not experiencing a certain amount of self-satisfaction from your own work, then your capacity to both operate in that field as well as your relative enjoyment from it is going to be lacking, and you'll find yourself feeling as though you're working in a self-optimal capacity. Which is to say that find a way of life whether it be a career, whether it be your extracurriculars, whether it be your home life, find a way, an avenue, at least in one of those sectors that allows you to experience a certain degree of self-satisfaction, that allows you to say that I have lived, let's say, 1 day or 2 days or 3 days or even a year with with amount of satisfaction that says that it was worthwhile.
Okay, all right. I have, usually don't ask questions. I've already asked you too many questions. So I'm just asking you, if you want to add anything else, please do it.
Yeah, sure. In addition to what I'd like to add in conclusion, it's along the lines of thinking that the world, even though the saying says the world is your oyster, I'd say it's not exactly your oyster. The world is a clam that's sealed shut, and it's your responsibility to open it by through means often indispensable to you.
Mhm.
While that may be the case, and all best case plans are susceptible to go along different lines, you have to think any individual in my shoes or in any person who has experienced what I've experienced would always tell you that no matter what, just keep going.
Okay.
Because there will always be cases where you start to think that it was not worthwhile, or you'll think about your experiences and wonder as to why this went that way.
Okay.
But ultimately, all you can, like, my life motto has always been along the lines of this statement that actually that a pirate captain issued, sorry, not a pirate captain, that a Royal Navy captain issued once to an extraordinary privateer. I've forgotten who they are, but this statement has stuck with me ever since I heard it. It was basically, no matter what happens, always go at it.
All right. Wonderful. By the way, I forgot to ask, was there any mentor or guide who helped you along the way?
Not in the traditional sense. I would like to say that a lot of people, my seniors, my professors, have helped me in one capacity or another. But not exactly had one singular individual who's been there to guide me through the whole process.
Okay.
And I'd say it's one of the joys of life, that even when you don't happen to have somebody to guide you by the hand, you can experience things and be surprised and amazed at how it can go.
Okay. All right. I'm glad you're ending on an optimistic note here. You sound very excited and happy. And I guess you will do your job while you wait for admissions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, good. So best of luck on the job. And hopefully it gives you the sense of satisfaction that you're looking for. And let's end it here, shall we?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So I'll be back with another young person or an expert soon. Till then, bye everybody. Bye.